The Conspiracy Theory Iceberg, explained by Don Tavius. Don Tavius? I know John Tavius. Shout out John Tavius, by the way. But I'm not very well versed in conspiracy theories. Like, I know like the Bush did 9/11. That might not be a theory. It's just like very base stuff, bro. But like, I hope we get in here. We see a couple. This is gonna be one of the longer reacts. We gonna. I want to have reacts to different shapes and sizes, stuff that you could watch, within 10 minutes, stuff that you could watch, within 30 minutes, and stuff you might want to see, in a big time. Maybe you want to go to sleep to the sound of my voice. I don't know. You wanna go to sleep to the sound of my voice? You like that shit? Nah, I'm playing. But anyway, if you want to see the reactions live, twitch.tv/Brando or whatever, like, subscribe, and let's get into it, guys.
Notice that this video is a repost, and that's because YouTube age restricted the original. And I think I figured out the reason why, and I removed that portion of the video, and now I'm re-uploading. I also added some entries that I left out of the original video, so if you are re-watching, there is going to be some fresh stuff. I think I added about 10 extra entries. Anyways, let's get into the video.
What if I told you?
He removed a portion of the video, so this may have been longer, bro. What?
That everything you've ever known is a lie. What if I told you that all the things you thought were true are actually false? What if I told you that everything you think is correct is actually incorrect?
Get to the point.
The reptilian
Bro, what are you doing, bro?
Sorry, man. I didn't know you were in here.
Oh, you didn't know I was in here? You didn't know? I'm trying to be nonchalant, all right? I'm trying to be anonymous and mysterious, and you ruined the whole thing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, man, get out of here. Get out of here. I'm Dan Tavius. How you doing? And today we're going to be talking about this conspiracy theory iceberg that I found on Reddit. But first, let me move. This couch is insanely uncomfortable. Let me move back to my regular spot. Where was I? All right, conspiracy theory iceberg. So I was kind of holding off on doing this one because Wendigoon did it better than I probably will. But whatever, man. I'm using a different chart, and we're still going to have a good time. We're going to share some laughs, some cries, and possibly a few existential crises. Which reminds me, if you're uncomfortable with existential topics, which I am, do not watch this. Because when I was doing research myself, I had a few moments where I was like, man, life doesn't make any sense anymore. So, again, if you are sensitive to that kind of stuff, just watch something else. It's not worth it. Also, I do want to preface this video by saying I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means. I just find them interesting. I mean, I should say I do believe some conspiracies, like that the female orgasm isn't real, but for the most part, I'm not a conspiracy
Dog. Dog.
guy. Now, the way this is going to work, in case you don't already know, first tier is basic conspiracy stuff that your uncle posts about on Facebook. Right. And the latter tiers is where the more succulent stuff is. So let's jump right into it. Oh, one more thing before I forget. I am not depressed. All right, keep that in mind. I am not depressed and have no intention of ending my life. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump right into the last iceberg video I will ever do. But first, a word from our sponsors. The most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. Shout out to Vessi for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it.
They're not paying me.
Big Pharma. There's a ton of conspiracies involving Big Pharma, most notably that they have cures for multiple diseases like cancer and diabetes, but it's more profitable to treat them than to cure them. Also, they're knowingly getting people addicted to opiates for profit. And in all fairness, you can't really blame people for believing this stuff because Big Pharma does some pretty screwed up stuff. I'm not going to get into all that here because this video would probably be 17 hours long, but look it up for yourself. CIA selling drugs.
I believe my video was age restricted because of this part, so I will make it brief to avoid that from happening again.
I feel great! Whoa! Any chance I could get some of that cold medicine to go?
Sure thing. No need, pal. First time's free.
Whoa!
UFOs. You might think that UFO sightings are a new phenomenon, but reports of UFOs have been going on since BC times. Now, obviously, nobody knows what these things are. That's why they're called unidentified flying objects. Well, except for the government. It's believed that they're actively withholding information about UFOs and aliens from the public. Which brings me to my next topic, Area 51. is a secret Air Force base located in the ass crack of the Nevada desert. Now, everybody knows that this place is highly secretive. As a matter of fact, the government didn't even acknowledge its existence until 2013. Officially, it's used by the CIA to test experimental planes. But we all know that's bullshit. We all know what's really going on in there. Crop circles are these intricate patterns that started randomly appearing in fields in the 1970s in southern England. With no other explanation, people just defaulted to aliens because that's always a good fallback when you can't explain something. The idea being that these shapes are actually imprints left from a flying saucer. It turns out that most of these were made by some dude named Doug Bauer and his friend Dave in an elaborate trolling campaign. Fermi paradox. So
Ain't no way. Is that actually true? Wait.
Imprints left from a flying saucer. It turns out that most of these were made by some dude named Doug Bauer and his
Crop circles were made by supernatural forces named Doug and Dave. There's no way. I never knew this, bro. Oh yeah. Okay, y'all are stupid. Right now we're in like cool things. Oh, Fermi paradox. Or not cool things, and things I already know. Fermi paradox. I've never heard of this.
People that are convinced that aliens have visited Earth and probed our anuses, and on the other end, you have the Fermi paradox. Statistically speaking, given how big our universe is, there should be a shit ton of alien life, right? Like there are potentially millions of planets just in our own galaxy that should be able to sustain life. So why has there been zero evidence of life outside of our own planet? Like not even a bacteria, nothing. There are a lot of different explanations for this paradox. For one, we could be alone. Like life could just be a one-off thing. Or maybe we just haven't been looking hard enough. So NASA, get off your fat asses and look harder. Reptilians. The reptilians are an advanced alien race hailing from the planet Nibiru. They were worshipped as gods by the ancient Sumerians, who called them the Anunnaki. And it's said that they even had a hand in building the pyramids. Oh, and they can also shapeshift. You see, reptilians, aka archons, aka lizard people, live amongst us to this day. The global elite are actually lizard people in disguise. Queen Elizabeth, lizard person. George Bush, lizard person. Justin Bieber, lizard person. Keemstar, lizard person. This theory was pushed forward by conspiracy theorist David Icke, who is like the British version of Alex Jones, but less sexy. New World Order, or NWO.
So they believe that these ancient reptilian people still run the... Okay, I never really understood the reptile thing, but okay. I don't know if I believe that.
Oh, your uncle, one of your family members definitely believes in this. According to this conspiracy theory, a cabal of powerful people is secretly manipulating world events so that they can enslave the population and control the world through a single world government. For the last 100 years or so, they've been slowly implementing globalism. The establishment of the United Nations, NATO, the WHO, and the European Union are seen as evidence that we're inching closer to a one-world government. Now, there's a lot of groups who are said to be affiliated with the NWO, but the major ones are what I like to call the big three of conspiracies. Okay. That's Freemasons, the Illuminati, and Jews. Oh, and this also ties back to the...
I'm sorry. It's just like, it's so funny to go from like Freemasons, the Illuminati, Jewish people. Like that's so crazy, bro. They really don't fuck with the Jews, bro. What the fuck?
Reptilian theory, because David Icke believes everything about the NWO, except instead of Freemasons and Jews, it's lizard people who are behind this. MH370. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 took off from Malaysia on March 8th, 2014 and was headed for Beijing, but never arrived. 30 minutes after takeoff, the pilots checked in with air traffic control and the plane just disappeared. Like my dad when he went out to get milk. It literally disappeared. Despite hundreds of hours of searching, nobody has been able to find any trace of it. Now, you guys might not know this, but typically giant Boeing aircraft don't just disappear. So this got people thinking that there was more to this story because it just has a very weird feel to it. One of the main theories is that it was stolen by the Russian special forces, but why would they do that? Like, what would they gain out of that? And of course, you know, aliens are involved as always. The tale of Atlantis goes back to Plato, who described it as an island nation in the Atlantic Ocean. One day the Atlanteans got a little too big for their britches and started trying to take over the other lands. Pretty successfully, I might add. They were able to conquer most of northern Africa, at which point the Greek city-state of Athens decided enough is enough, and they formed a coalition to take on Atlantis. And they kicked the shit out of them, despite being much smaller and outnumbered. Then, after the Atlanteans got their asses handed to them, their whole island was swallowed up by the ocean during a series of earthquakes. Now, this story is clearly allegorical, but there's still a lot of people who believe that Plato based this nation on a real island that got flooded, because he was known to, make his stories about things that were rooted in reality. It's even been suggested that the island was destroyed after the flood in Genesis. And if you know me, you know I'm a sucker for a biblical tie-in. People have been searching for anything that could prove that Atlantis is real, and every now and then something like this pops up. I remember seeing this back in like 2009 on Google Maps. People thought this was Atlantis off the coast of Africa, and Google has since deleted this little area, so what are they hiding? What are you afraid of, Google? The truth? Ouija boards. Now, I for one know...
I'm not gonna lie, if Atlantis was actually real, bro, like... would it even matter? Because that means that, I guess it's actually like, it could be real. We don't know much about the ocean, bro. We know more about space than we do about the ocean. So technically, Atlantis could be a real place. But also, too, motherfucker, we're not getting down there. Like we could try. We're not getting down there, bro. Like, how, bro. The submarines can't even go a certain amount of fucking, miles below sea level before that bitch implodes in on itself. Like, nah, bro. Just don't worry about it, bro. Obviously, God nuked it from the game for a reason, bro. Come on.
Know that Ouija boards are full of shit. One time, I was playing with a Ouija board, and I asked it if I would be a virgin forever. And it said yes. But I banged your mom, so clearly that's not true.
No,
Climate denial. You guys know about this, so I'll keep it short. Scientists say that man-made carbon emissions are contributing to the Earth getting hotter. Skeptics say this research isn't valid because it's being doctored by people with a socialist agenda. So global warming and climate change is not actually man-made, according to them. The world is just getting warmer because it's getting warmer. Now, I don't know either way, but I think barrel-chested egomaniac Elon Musk had a good take on this. When asked if global warming is real, he said, "Would be unwise to risk that it's not." It's like Pascal's wager, but
It's the smartest thing that man has said in a while.
for climate change. Nostradamus. I'll probably make a video on this guy in the future. He's a very interesting guy. Michel de Nostradam was a French doctor and astrologer in the 1500s. He's mostly known for his prophecies, where he supposedly predicted some major world events, including World War II, the JFK assassination, and 9/11. Skeptics say that his predictions are very vague and can be applied to almost anything. Let's take a look at one example and you guys can decide for yourselves. These verses supposedly predicted the end of JFK. From on high, evil will fall on the great man.
Wait,
His predictions are very vague and can be applied to almost anything. Let's take a look at one example and you guys can decide for yourselves. These verses supposedly predicted the end of JFK.
So they're trying to say, Nostradamus predicted everything that'll happen in human history? Or, just in human times? Man, what?
On high, evil will fall on the great man. This might be referring to him getting sniped from a distance from...
That could mean a litany of things. That could mean anything. Bro, I could say that and it could technically be true, bro. A fucking avalanche can come and crush your car, bro, with you in it. Technically, I'm right. You get what I'm saying? Nah, bro, come on now.
From a rooftop on high. A dead innocent will be accused of the deed. People say that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't actually commit the act, despite being the main suspect of the deed. People say that Lee Harvey on high. A dead innocent will be accused of the deed. People say that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't actually commit the act, despite being the main suspect. He was just the fall guy. The guilty will remain in the mist. Again, a lot of people believe that the real assassin got away with it, so they're still in the mist because we don't know. MK Ultra, man, I literally have not done a single Iceberg video that didn't involve MK Ultra. So for that reason,
I really don't know much about MK Ultra, so hopefully you can explain most of it.
I'm not gonna get too into it because I've talked about it a million times now. This one isn't so much a conspiracy theory as it is a actual thing that happened. During the Cold War, the CIA was known for doing a bunch of quirky things. One of the things that they did was Project MK Ultra, which was essentially a mind control experiment. Scientists would use different techniques to try to influence and brainwash people, and some of these included sensory deprivation, hypnosis, and electric shocks. Eventually, the project became focused on studying the effects of LSD, which they hoped could make people more agreeable. They were hoping that they could use LSD to get confessions out of people during interrogations, or possibly use it to manipulate enemy spies to defect from the Soviet Union, or even just straight up control their minds. And the way they carried out this experiments was not exactly what you would call ethical. Most of the test subjects were not willing participants. Like, they would just dose people with LSD and observe what would happen. The justification for this whole thing is that US intelligence assumed that the Russians were doing the same thing, so it was okay. Now, the conspiracy portion comes in with the scope.
What? I assume the Russians are doing it, so it's okay. And I know we'd like to. I know this whole decade we've been talking shit about how cruel and unusual the Russians are. I know the Russians are terrible, but they're doing it, dude. So it's fine. What the fuck? This doesn't even make any sense, bro. What are we talking
of
about?
MK Ultra. People think that it was a lot bigger than originally described, and also that it's still going on to this day. Oh, by the way, guys,
Probably is,
if
honestly.
you see me sweating throughout this video, it's not just because I'm anxious. It's incredibly hot in here, and for some reason I decided to wear like a sweatshirt. But, you know, let's carry on. I'm going to
Sweatshirt
power
and a
through it
hat,
for you
bro.
guys. Hypnosis. When you think of hypnosis, you probably think of some goofy dude with a pocket watch who tricks somebody into thinking they're a chicken or some shit. But it also might be used in less hilarious ways. I mentioned that hypnosis was one of the techniques used in MK Ultra, and the idea is that a trained hypnotist can make people do things against their will and just generally screw with their minds, like make them go crazy, make them, you know, jump off a bridge. Things of that nature. Flat Earth.
It's a big one.
The ancient Greeks were able to figure out that the Earth was round all the way back in 300 BC. In fact, some big brain mother sucker named Eratosthenes was able to calculate the circumference of the Earth in 276 BC, and it was surprisingly accurate. God damn, bro. Greeks have really devolved. They used to be the most enlightened, most intelligent people in the world, and now this is the average Greek. Despite the round Earth theory being around for literal millennia, it does have its detractors. There's an entire Flat Earth society with thousands of members, including rapper who made 2 hit songs 10 years ago, B.O.B., E-Thought prototype and Nazi supporter Tila Tequila, and Kyrie Irving.
I forgot about Tila Tequila, bro. What? And Bob. And then I knew about Kyrie, bro. But in Kyrie's defense, how could he dribble that ball so well? How could he dribble that basketball so well if the Earth is round, bro? Come on.
I realize that this flat Earth theory may sound crazy, but hear me out. Hear me out, because it's not as crazy as you might think. Flat Earthers believe that the Earth is surrounded by an ice wall that keeps the water in and keeps us from falling off the edge. The sun rotates around the Earth in a circle, which causes the day-night cycle. Oh, and they also don't believe in gravity. The Earth is actually constantly moving upwards, which keeps us comfortably on the ground. But you might be saying to yourself right now, Danny, there's literal photos of the Earth from space that show it's clearly a sphere.
The bitches are fake.
Wrong. Those are fakes.
Those are
NASA
fake.
doctored
I was
them to
about to
hide the
say.
truth from us. So throw that shit out. Fake news. Fake news is simply news
Them bitches
that
are
is distributed.
fake. Nah, bro. See, again, in Kyrie Irving's defense, bro. Have you seen his layup package? I'm just saying. Gravity can't exist when you like that, bro. I'm just saying, hey, man.
Dishonestly, with the
He might
purpose
be
of
right.
pushing
He
a
might be
political
right.
agenda.
Fake news.
There's 2 types of fake news. Misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is unknowingly spreading false info because you're an idiot that doesn't like to research things and you probably just read the title of the article without reading it. And the second
That's
type
most
is
people.
disinformation, which is much more malicious. This is when people knowingly spread untrue information with harmful intent.
All of Twitter.
For example,
Literally
you guys
all of
may
Twitter.
have seen this article going around about how I punched a 12-year-old in the face for cutting in front of me in line at Minions Rise of Gru. This is simply untrue. It was a 13-year-old.
The
which in
Universal
some
ride?
cultures is considered an adult, And she had what was coming to her. Moon landing. This is like baby's
Nah, bro,
first
we can't be
conspiracy
punching
theory.
kids at the
It says that
fucking-
the moon landing never happened. It was
We can't be punching kids at the fucking Universal, bro. Also, too, we had to write a essay. We had to pick a side. I remember this, bro. This was back in 8th grade. We had to pick a side if we thought the moon landing was real or fake, and we had to write an essay on it. And she just graded us on how convincing our essays were, which is insane.
was actually shot on a Hollywood set by Steven Spielberg. Everybody knows that shit. During the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman got his email hacked, and people with way more free time than me combed through all of his emails and came to the conclusion that these emails contained coded messages that connected high-profile Democrats to this pizza place in DC that was doing some weird stuff involving children in the basement of said pizza place. A basement which again did
What?
not exist. GMOs. So humans have been selectively
That's what they want you to think.
breeding fruits and vegetables for thousands of years now. You know, bananas, these things,
Fuck with
they used
bananas.
to look like this. Broccoli does not occur in nature. It's literally just a modified cabbage. But the thing about breeding plants is that it can take a while. So in the 70s, scientists decided to speed up this process by doing it in a lab and creating so-called GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. They're literally altering the DNA of plants. It's believed by some that these GMOs are harmful to humans and that the data suggesting otherwise is being doctored by huge biotech companies like Monsanto. A company so fucked up that both liberals and conservatives agree that they're one of the worst companies in the world. Simulation theory says that our entire reality
finally
is
agreed
just
on
a
something.
simulation. Like, we're basically living in a video game and we're NPCs but don't know it, right? Somebody out there is playing The Sims, and we're The Sims. It's like the classic Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy. Multiverse theory. This is a...
I thought it was like a different like simulation theory. If we're all NPCs, that's kind of crazy. If we're all just NPCs, that's crazy. Some of y'all definitely NPCs. Okay, some of y'all definitely NPCs, but like not all of us though. I think of simulation theory as like when like you die, you're gonna wake up in a room. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna like you're gonna die and you're gonna be like, and you're gonna wake up in a room and you're gonna be like, oh shit, like. I don't believe in simulation theory. I'm gonna just say this. I believe this is the only life we have until I get some evidence that's gonna make me sit there and be like, as of right now, I believe this is the only life we have. But like, you know how you sit there, right? You know how you sit there, right? And like, you think you like hear a voice, like you think your mom called you, or you think like your your homie said something, and you go, yo, what? And then they go, I didn't say anything. I think that's them on the other side trying to wake you up, bro. No cap. I think that's them on the other side trying to wake you up, bro. So when you eventually like die, bro, you're gonna pop up on the table, and then I think that's how they gauge, bro. What if like after, like this is a simulation? What if like after, bro, it's a perfect society afterwards? Because they're putting us in a fake life situation, to where we think and we plan shit out, right? And we do it and we go through test life. So then we wake up in the simulation room, and then they either go, yeah, you were a good person, you can go into the good people, you can live on with the rest of us, but you were a bad person. I mean, technically that would make also like for the people that don't believe in like Christianity or any religion, it would technically make heaven and hell real, because hell would just be killing the people. Unaliving the people that pull up to the the real the real thing outside of the simulation, and then the people in that were good in the simulation get pushed into the real world to actually live out their real lives. I'm not saying I'm on to something, but I might be. But anyway, I low-key believe in this. Multiverse theory, I low-key believe in this, no cap.
A more complex topic. Luckily, I have a degree in theoretical physics from DeVry University, so it should be pretty easy to explain. When you think about the vastness of our universe and just how small we are in the grand scheme of things, it really makes you feel insignificant. But what if I told you that you're even more insignificant, that there's potentially an infinite number of universes, and we're just part of one of many universes in the multiverse? Assuming this is true, that would mean that there are infinite possibilities. Like, there are other versions of you in other universes that are almost identical to you with just small variations.
Yeah.
Like, there could be a universe where I like Franklin the Turtle. Nah, that's probably a stretch. But there's probably a universe out there where I'm not banging your mom. Actually, no, that's probably not true either. But you get my point.
He got beef with Franklin the Turtle?
We're going to touch on this again a few times later on.
But yeah, no, multiverse theory, I low-key believe in that. I low-key believe in that. And it might just be because I've watched so many, like, TV shows with, like, superheroes and stuff in it, and that's just been ingrained in my childhood that I just believe in multiverse theory. But, like, the idea of, like, there being another universe with another you, or there's a good chunk, there's a whole bunch of universes without you. I mean, it's infinite possibilities. I think that's cool. I think that's dope. I partially believe that's real. I will say this, though, for the sake of peace and no multiversal war, I pray we never figure it out. I pray we never figure it out. Imagine the day you realize that there's another you just on the other side, bro. And not just another you. There's infinite amounts of you. Nah, bro. It'd cook the world, bro. It'd cook the world if we ever figured that out, bro.
On in the video, so keep this one tucked away in the back of your head. Psyops, or psychological operations, are essentially just propaganda campaigns or disinformation campaigns, right? It's when a government tries to disseminate some kind of information to stir up a reaction. My favorite psyop theory is the one that says that Japanese kawaii culture was developed to distract from Japan's horrible war crimes, right? So if you're not a weeb and you're unfamiliar with what kawaii means, it means cute or lovable. And it's essentially a culture of cuteness, right? Think Hello Kitty or girls who look like this. Nowadays, Japan has garnered this image of being cute and effeminate, but there's a theory that this was a purposeful and concerted attempt by the Japanese government to revamp Japan's image after World War II, where they committed some of the most horrendous war crimes in history, like on par with Nazi Germany. And the best thing about psyops is that anything could be a psyop, right? Andrew Tate could be a psyop.
I need dick. I'm a hoe. I need dick.
He could just be distracting us.
He just got arrested for some crazy shit. Him and his brother. No cap.
From the impending destruction of the Chinese economy, which will affect the entire world. Mandela effect. The Mandela effect refers to a phenomenon in which a large group of people believe that an event occurred when it did not actually occur. The name comes from the fact that a bunch of people thought that Nelson Mandela passed away in prison in the 1990s, when in fact he passed away in 2013. Another example is people remembering Franklin the Turtle as being a good show, when in fact it's the most boring and horrendous cartoon ever created. Here's another one I found out about recently. You know the Fruit of the Loom underwear company? Here's their logo to refresh your memory. Except this isn't their logo, and it never was. There was no cornucopia in the Fruit of the Loom logo.
I definitely thought it was a cornucopia.
This is what it actually looks like. This shit got me flabbergasted.
No, the one that gets me, and I'm going to talk to myself in the future so he knows to look up from his phone while he's editing. Yeah, you. The thing that gets me, edited in, is that SpongeBob in the SpongeBob movie at the very end, he's not the white V guitar, bro. I can't be the only person that thought he had a white V guitar. And I know there's people on the internet that know he had a white V guitar. But bro, it was a fucking peanut. But why do we all think of I was like, bro, it was a white guitar. Not only was it a white guitar, it was a white V guitar. How did we all collectively, none of us know each other. How did we collectively come to the idea that it was a white V guitar? Tell me. Like this is like the Fruit Loops thing. I'll let it go. The double stuffed Oreos having 2 F's or us thinking it has 2 F's but it only has 1 F, whatever. But like the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom, why would we all envision a cornucopia? Why? I remember that as a child. So like and I was a child that didn't know what the fuck a cornucopia was. I probably sat there and asked my mom, what the heck is that? So like I didn't know what a cornucopia was. So I wouldn't just come to that realization, bro. Like that no, bro. We need to figure that out, bro. We need to figure that out.
Bro, I always remembered the cornucopia. And
Unless it leads to the multiverse thing. If it leads to us being like in a multiverse thing, never mind. Don't figure it out, bro. Don't figure it out. I'm telling you, bro. If we ever figure out a multiverse is real, bro, we're cooked. We're cooked, bro. We're cooked.
apparently somebody emailed the creator of the logo, and he said even he remembered there being a cornucopia on the dang logo. Now, there's some reasonable explanations for this, but we don't give a shit about those.
Okay,
here.
wait, that's easy though, bro. If he remembers it being a cornucopia on the logo, that means he drew it, and then they probably just took it out later, bro. Like, it probably we probably saw like not an old ad, but like the concept art, and we're like, oh, it has a cornucopia, and then we just remembered that, and then they probably just took it out later. Because if he remembers it, then that means he most likely drew the shit. So yeah, nah, that's different. But hey, the fucking White V guitar one, bro, that's crazy.
The best theory has to do with the multiverse, in that people are receiving memories from themselves in alternate universes. The Denver airport. So if you've ever been to the Denver airport, you probably realize that
I've heard so much
there was
crazy shit
something
about
off
the
it.
Denver.
They got all these
International
weird murals
Airport.
everywhere, and right in front there's a giant blue horse statue with glowing red eyes.
Which I thought people said this was for the Denver Broncos, which I guess doesn't make it any less fucking terrifying. I will tell you that. But I guess I get it, because their colorway is like this weird like blue color, and like mostly in the 90s was this weird blue color, and then the like the orangish hair. Like, yeah, that made sense to me. But now, like, I don't know, it's still terrifying, but I thought it was part of the Denver Broncos. I thought that's what it was. The whole thing was.
The horse, known as Blucifer, actually killed the man who created it. I'm not even joking.
What?
The sculptor who made this monstrosity died after a chunk of it fell and severed an artery in his leg. There are a ton...
What? No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
of conspiracy theories about this place, including that it was built by the New World Order and the Illuminati, the art contains subliminal messages, and there's underground bunkers underneath the airport where the global elite will go in case there's a nuclear war. You know, stuff like that. The basement tapes. The two boys that carried out the attack on Columbine High School, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, filmed a series of home videos before they carried out their attack, which were a total of 5 tapes. 2 of which were released to the public, and the remaining 3 were called the basement tapes because they were filmed in Eric's basement. The tapes contained details of their plan as well as their motives. They spoke about how people made fun of them and how much they hated humanity. The last tape, which was filmed just 30 minutes before the attack, was them apologizing to their friends and family and saying their goodbyes. Now, the victims' families did not want these videos released, but Time magazine was somehow given access to them anyways and wrote a whole article about them. The sheriff in charge of the case at the time, Ted Mink, decided that the best thing to do was to destroy the tapes out of fear that it could inspire others to follow in the boys' footsteps.
Man, what, bro? This loser's still doing that shit to this day, bro. And they're just inspired by them doing it. It's not even the tapes, bro. Like, oh, bro, if it's one thing that's gonna get me hot, bro, it's definitely school. You feel me? It's definitely those, bro. Anything that has to do with children getting hurt, harmed, or put in danger, bro, that should have get me tight, bro. That should have get me hot. That should have get me so fucking hot, bro.
But there's some skepticism on if that's the real reason. Like, maybe there was something else on these tapes that the sheriff didn't want people to see. I don't know. Tulpas. I think most of us had imaginary friends back when we were kids. Well, a tulpa is basically an imaginary friend that has a mind of its own. Like, it's an independent being with its own thoughts and personality that's brought into existence by somebody's mind. That's probably how Nikocado avocado was invented, man, because there's no way this mother sucker is human. There's actually an entire community dedicated to summoning these tulpas, and a person who practices this dark art is called a tulpamancer. The r/tulpa subreddit currently has 42,000 members, which is bullshit because the Dantavius subreddit only has like 100 members. Gnosticism. So not
because normal people don't go on fucking Reddit, buddy. It's only for crazy shit, and gooning. Okay.
Gnostics believe that there are two gods, one who is perfect, all-powerful, all-knowing, and all good, and there's a second lesser god who created our world. They also believe that our physical world is evil and the spiritual world is good. And the only way for somebody to transcend our world is through a process called gnosis, or enlightenment. The first man to achieve gnosis, according to them, was Jesus Christ, who provided knowledge to the others on how to achieve it themselves. It's said that when Jesus died, his physical body died, but his spirit transcended this evil material world, and others can do the same. It's similar to nirvana in Buddhism, and Gnostics believe that this information is hidden away in the Bible and only people with big brains can decipher the messages. They also have a collection of non-canonical Gnostic texts like the Gospel of Judas and the Secret Book of John. In the early days of Christianity, Gnosticism was much more widespread until the Council of Nicaea in 325, which kind of established Christian doctrine officially. Astral projection is the idea that somebody can separate their soul from their body and do things while their body is asleep. It's like that scene from Doctor Strange where he's reading books while he's
but he's
asleep.
sleeping. Yeah.
You can think of this kind of as like next level lucid dreaming. And apparently some people can pull this off. If you want to try it yourself, there's a step-by-step instruction on WikiHow. So try it out. Let me know how it goes. The 23
Boy, if I ever figured out how to fucking astral project, bro, y'all be getting fucking y'all be getting reacts every day. No cap. Y'all be getting reacts every day, bro. Streams, man, fuck a 24-hour stream, bro. Welcome to the 365 stream, bro. I'm astral projecting to keep streaming throughout the night.
Enigma is the belief that the number 23 holds some kind of special significance, and most major world events are somehow connected to 23 in some way.
LeBron.
Let me list some examples. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Julius Caesar was stabbed 23 times. Kurt Cobain was born in 1967 and he died in 1994. If you add up the digits of both of those years, they both come out to 23. Also, I pay $2,300 of child support every month to my bitch ex-wife Linda. Project Bluebeam. This one is pretty nuts, man. I'm surprised this is just on the second layer. So, Project Bluebeam says that NASA, in collaboration with the UN and the Antichrist, created a highly advanced hologram machine.
The UN and Satan. Like wait, what? Wait, what? I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting that to be the next thing to happen. Wait, lock me back in.
Which they will use to create a fake second coming, which will unite all humans on Earth under a single religion. And that's the event that's basically going to kick off the New World Order. Agortha is a civilization of giants hidden in the center of the Earth. The only way to reach it is by traveling through two openings at the Earth's poles. The pole holes, if you will. And once you've properly penetrated the hole, there's an entire ecosystem below the surface. And like I said, a civilization of giants who apparently have highly advanced technology, more advanced than our own. And most UFO sightings actually come from within the Earth, not outside of it. I've made an entire video on this topic, so if you want to know more, just go watch it. Men in Black is a classic sci-fi comedy starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Banger.
It's also based off a real conspiracy theory. The Men in Black theory builds on the conspiracy that aliens are real, and they frequently visit the planet Earth, and the government is aware of this. They're actively trying to keep this information away from the public. The Men in Black are either part of the FBI or a separate intelligence agency entirely, who specializes in suppressing information about extraterrestrials from the general public. These Men in Black intimidate UFO witnesses and dissuade them from going public with their information by any means necessary.
They don't got the bitch, the paching, they don't got that, bro. Come on, bro. You can't be a Men in Black and you ain't got your little, you feel me, bro? You feel me? I wish I had one of those. Bitches would have came clutch about 3-4 times, no cap.
Years, a few ufologists have come forward claiming that they've been threatened by the Men in Black. Fluoride dangers. All water contains trace amounts of fluoride, but in the US, state governments take it upon themselves to add even more fluoride to the tap water. Fluoridated tap water has been shown to reduce cavities by...
By the way, I feel the need to say this. All of this is allegedly. These are theories, so it's fucking... make sure we get that out the way. But if you believe it, you believe it, bro. I ain't gonna tell you what to believe and what not to believe. So I don't give a fuck.
25%.
Unless you're crazy. We might get to some in these later tiers that I'm gonna look at you and I'm gonna be like, hey, bro. You might be losing it.
But opponents of water fluoridation say that the government purposely puts that stuff in our water to cause adverse health effects. There's no consensus about what those effects are, but the most popular one is that it lowers IQ, trying to keep the people dumb, you know? According to caveman-headed wrestler and former Minnesota governor Jesse Ventura, fluoride is the main component of Prozac. You've got people drinking Prozac water. Well, what does Prozac do to you? It calms you and it dumbs you down so you're less emotional. Personally, I'm not a believer in that theory because when you describe the current state of American society, calm is probably not a word.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the last thing.
One of the more out there theories is that water fluoridation is a communist conspiracy to give as many people cancer as possible so that they can socialize medicine. And this was all the way back in the 50s when they came up with this. So clearly the plot isn't working out too well because, you know, fluoride's been in the water for well over 80 years now. But like, just brush your teeth. I don't see a reason to put the stuff in our water when everybody has access to toothpaste. This isn't fucking England, all right? Just brush your teeth. Actually, in England, only about 10% of their water contains fluoride, while in America, it's closer to 80%. So that might explain why their teeth are so fucked. I don't know, man. Tara Calico was a girl who went missing in New Mexico in 1988. A year later, a Polaroid picture turned up in the parking lot of a grocery store in Florida, and it showed two kids who were tied up with tape over their mouths. And people believe that the girl in the photo is Tara. In 2008, the sheriff who was in charge of the case claimed that Tara was accidentally hit with a car and passed away from her injuries, and then her body was hidden away. But apparently without the body, they couldn't do anything about it. So the guys who, you know, ended her life got away. Where it gets really crazy is that in 2010, this guy named Henry Brown made a confession on his deathbed. And he said that 3 men did in fact hit Calico with their car. And they drove her to the middle of nowhere and took turns taking advantage of her before whacking her. And one of the people involved in this was Rene Rivera, the sheriff's son. So the conspiracy is that he covered it up so his son wouldn't get in trouble. In 1953...
No, that's crazy if it's true. That's crazy if that's true, bro. What? No, that's crazy as fuck if it's true, gang. That one got me. Oh, bro. Yeah, nah.
A group of experienced hikers led by Igor Dyatlov went on an expedition.
By the way, bro. Trigger warning. I don't know why I didn't say this before. We are talking about fucking theories. I know he did a trigger warning, but like, Brando trigger warning now. I'll probably put one at the beginning of the video, but like, trigger warning, just so y'all know.
In the
people in the chat too, bro. People on Twitch, bro. Trigger warning.
Ural Mountains in Russia. On February 1st, they began their journey through what's now known as Dyatlov's Pass. And based off the photos that were taken by the hikers, it looks like they were having a good time. But unfortunately, this does not have a happy ending.
Right,
on
moments
February
captured.
20th, when nobody heard
Photos
back from
captured
people in the group,
before
they
accidents.
sent a search party to go find them. When investigators arrived at the group's campsite, the first thing they found was a tent. And this is where it starts to get a little creepy. The tent was cut open with a knife from the inside, and most of the group's clothes were still inside. Based on the footprints they found, all the people went out running with no shoes on, which means that something scared these people so much that they didn't even bother to put clothes or shoes on in below freezing temperatures. They had to get out of there as quick as possible. Not long after the tent was found, 6 of the group's bodies were discovered. Again, most of them were just in their underwear. It was ruled that they passed away from hypothermia, but after a few hours they were able to recover the remaining bodies. And I'm not going to go into detail about these people's injuries, but that shit was gruesome. gruesome. One of them had their skull crushed and another one had their chest caved in. And their injuries were a lot worse than I'm making it sound. Another weird detail is that the 3 bodies that were found had higher radiation levels than normal, especially compared to the other 6. So given how mysterious this whole situation was, there's a lot
I
of...
was gonna say like their injuries could have been from falling, but he obviously doesn't want this video to get age restricted, so he just kind of glossed over it. But like, yeah, nah, if it's worse than that, because I instantly, like, when I hear that, I'm like, damn, like, you are on a mountain though, bro. So like, you know, falling, you get what I'm saying? Fall from a big height, bro. Do some crazy shit to you, but like,
explanations as to what happened. Some of them are reasonable, others are less so. One is that they were simply caught in an avalanche, except a lot of people rule this one out because there were no signs of an avalanche. Like, the injuries that were found on some of their bodies could have been caused by an avalanche, but it would have been very obvious if one recently rolled through the area.
yeah.
Some people think they were attacked by a Yeti, but the most interesting theory is that they were shot at by some kind of experimental radiation weapon, right? Basically, they were woken up by the sound of the weapon's blast, so they got out of there as quickly as possible. The first 6 members succumbed to hypothermia, while the other ones with the more severe injuries and the radiation were hit with a direct blast. Weather control. You ever heard of HAARP?
Okay.
No, not that. HAARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Officially, it's used to study the Earth's atmosphere. Unofficially, it's a weather control device. At least that's what some people think. They believe that it can create hurricanes and tornadoes so that they can pass climate change legislation to implement globalism and the New World Order and blah, blah, blah. The Antarctica Pyramids. If I know anything about Antarctica, it's that it's colder than my ex-wife's heart. Or too cold to sustain human life. But what if I told you that there are pyramids in Antarctica? Where did they come from? Aliens, perhaps? Or was this an Atlantis-type situation, but instead of getting stuck underwater, the city froze over? I don't know, man. To me, it just looks like a mountain with flat slopes, but I'm no geologist. Oh, wait. Yes, I am. Here's my degree from DeVry University, bitch. Masonry.
Why the fuck this nigga got like 3 degrees from DeVry University, bro? How many classes was you taking in that bitch?
The Freemasons are a secretive fraternal order that's been around for hundreds or thousands of years, depending on who you ask. According to the Freemasons' own manuscripts, the first Mason was Jabal, who was a cousin of Noah. No, not that Noah. Yeah, that Noah, the one with the boat.
Oh, the
but according
Ark.
to actual history, they originated in England around the 14th century as a guild of stonemasons, which eventually evolved into one of the most prominent secret societies in the world. Some of the most powerful and influential people in history have been members of this club. Ben Franklin, George Washington, Mozart, John Wayne, Scottie Pippen, fucking Arnold Palmer, the man who created the most
Scottie
delicious
Pippen.
beverage the world has ever known. Given their secretive nature along with their elite membership, it should come as no surprise that these mothersuckers are at the center of a ton of conspiracy theories. They're part of the big 3, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and the Jews. Almost every conspiracy theory can be...
Bro, why do y'all not fuck with the Jews, bro? Why do y'all not fuck? Like, the Illuminati and Freemasons, I'm expecting them to be on the list. What's the problem with the Jews? Like, come on, bro.
be traced back to one of these 3 groups. It's believed by some that Freemasons are a cult of devil worshippers who secretly control global affairs from behind the scenes.
Okay, that's a
They
tough
were the
statue, by the way.
masterminds behind 9/11, the faking of the moon landing, and Gamergate. And to be fair,
Fuck is
they've been involved
Gamergate?
in some dicey situations in the past. Actually, in my next video, I'm going to be talking about a Freemason lodge that effectively took over an entire country. So subscribe with notifications on if you're interested in seeing stuff like that.
W
Seriously,
plug.
don't miss it. It's going to be a good video. The bloop is a sound that was captured underwater by a submarine. Let me play a clip of it.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not.
Oh, dang. Sorry, that was the wrong clip.
Oh, that right there.
So the scientific consensus is that it was an iceberg falling apart. But some people think it was a massive sea creature, like something that's like 10 times bigger than a whale. You know, that kind of sounds like your mom.
Same thing. No way I paused this motherfucker in the middle of your mom joke. Anyway, same thing I said about Atlantis, bro. Don't figure it out, bro. The ocean, bro. We not supposed to be down there, bro. We're not supposed to be down there. Cause think about it. When you actively don't try, bro, the ocean pushes you up. You float. You get what I'm saying? Bro, once you get down there and it realizes that you down there, bro, you never come back. You get to a point where it starts pulling you down, bro. And then, bro, eventually, I'm not going to get too graphic, but, this is you. This is the pressure of the ocean. A little bit more horrific than that. But it happens. You get what I'm saying? Bro, just leave it the fuck alone, bro. Just leave it the fuck alone. We have spent thousands of years, at least 2,000 of them. Thousands of years, right? Perfectly fine up here, not knowing all the shit that goes down there. Let's keep it that fucking way.
Occult knowledge. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but I think it's referring to the conspiracy that a bunch of elites practice occultism and have done so throughout history. Like, it's a known theory that the Nazi inner circle was really into occultism. People think the British royal family and all the powerful people practice dark rituals, things of the British royal family.
Man, what obviously they do, bro? Look at these niggas. Look at these niggas. Give me my face. Look at them. Look at them. Even him. Cause why are you so happy? In this LL governor ass fit, bro. Like, come on, bro. Look at them. Of course they do, bro. I believe this one wholeheartedly, bro. Yeah, nah, they fucking got it, bro. Nope.
And all the powerful people practice dark rituals, things of that nature. The Key of Solomon is a book that turned up in Europe sometime during the Renaissance, but this is no ordinary book. It's what's known as a grimoire, or a magical textbook, that was apparently written by King Solomon himself. It's actually composed of 2 books. One of them teaches the reader about conjuration, illusion, alteration, and all the other schools of magic from Skyrim. By the way, I am not joking. It really does teach you all those types of magic. The second book, on the other hand, is mostly stuff about exorcism and things of that nature. Gang stalking is a belief that an individual is being stalked or followed by a large group of people. They believe that this stalking is part of a harassment campaign by either the government or some kind of large organization, and the purpose of these harassment campaigns is usually to intimidate the person or make them go crazy or seem less credible. There's a lot of online communities dedicated to people who believe that they're targeted individuals. Now, this isn't something that's completely unheard of. The FBI used to do shit like this all the time back in the 60s, but most of the people who claim to be targeted by gang stalking are nobody.
Yeah,
like, why would the government
normies
waste time and resources to stalk some dude who works at fucking Best Buy? Come on, Cicada 3301. So,
by the way, I love how he cuts the music on the more serious notes. W him.
Cicada 3301 is a mysterious organization who posted these complicated puzzles all over the internet for people to solve. The first one was a simple JPEG image that read, "We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. Find it, and it will lead you to the road to finding us." Now, I'm not going to get into the details of how the puzzle was solved. Just know that there was information hidden in the actual JPEG image, and they used that to decipher a series of clues. There were 3 puzzles total, and 2 of them were solved. The third one has yet to be solved to this day. But the big question here is, who are these people posting these puzzles, and why are they searching for highly intelligent people? It's been speculated that it could be the CIA looking for recruits, or a Mr. Robot type organization, or shit, maybe it's the Man in Black looking for qualified people to stop an alien invasion. Either way, it's one of the coolest mysteries on the internet. Ancient...
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Watch it just be a bunch of niggas that had time. That just had time, bro. And by the time you finally figure out that third one, bro, they gonna be like, oh yeah, that was fun, wasn't it?
Giants / Nephilim. The Nephilim were briefly mentioned in the Old Testament of the Bible, in the book of Genesis and the book of Numbers. Depending on how you interpret the scripture, they were either just evil men or they were a race of giants.
The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards when the sons of God went into the daughters of the men who bore children to them. These were the heroes that were of old, warriors of renown. Okay.
Giants that were the byproduct of fallen angels having children with human women. This concept is expanded upon in the Book of Enoch, which is a non-canonical book supposedly written by Noah's great-great-grandfather Enoch. So the idea with this is that these giants were real and that there is evidence to support their existence. Like, there have been giant bones found around the world, but the authenticity of these bones is up for debate. I still think this is one of the coolest theories. Like, this has fascinated me since I was a kid. Again, you know, I hate plugging my own stuff so often, but, you know, I made a whole video on this one too. Go check it out.
See, I wouldn't have a problem with I wouldn't have a problem with this if I actually knew. Like, maybe you could persuade me on this one. I know somebody though. And I talked about this in a react way back, or in a video way back. I know someone that believes in like giants and stuff. He also eats raw meat. But like he believes in giants and stuff, but he doesn't believe in dinosaurs. And like him saying like you found giant bones, but you didn't find like in the same way you find dinosaur bones. I'm just kind of like, you know, why not believe in both?
Out. Pantheism is the belief that the entire universe and all of existence as a whole is God. So like you and me, we're God. This tree outside my house, this is God. Even thoughts are a manifestation of God. Bohemian Grove is a secret annual meeting.
That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one. That might actually have some validity to it. No cap. Oh, Bohemian Grove, isn't this like an elites thing? This is like an elites thing, like a bunch of famous elites go there.
Hosted by the Bohemian Club that takes place in the Redwood Forest in Northern California. The Bohemian Club is a secret fraternity similar to the Freemasons.
Reagan,
Some
Nixon.
of their members over the years have included Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and both George Bushes.
Bushes.
Nobody exactly knows what goes on during this meeting, but Alex Jones was actually able to infiltrate Bohemian Grove with a hidden camera back in 2000. And what he saw was pretty freaking weird, to say the least.
The owl is in his leafy temple. Let all within the grove be reverent before him. Lift up your heads, O ye trees, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting spires. For behold, here is Bohemia's shrine, and holy are the pillars of the
So what you're seeing here is something called the cremation of care. It's a theatrical performance that involves burning an effigy in front of a giant owl statue. The performance is meant to symbolize the banishing of worldly cares for its club members. But again, man, when you have a secret meeting of some of the most powerful people in the world, and they're doing shit like this, it's bound to turn some heads. Alex Jones claims that the ritual of care is a satanic ritual where the members are offering a sacrifice to the god Molech. Molech being a god that was worshipped by the Canaanites in the Old Testament. Pineal.
I'm gonna say this. How the fuck is Alex Jones still alive? Because even without him saying that this is a satanic ritual and this and that in the third, bro. If anyone got some embarrassing ass footage of me and the guys doing some fuckery like this, bro, he gotta get out of there, bro. Never see the light of day, bro. He's taking that to the coffin, bro. He's taking that to the grave. To the grave. Nah. Hey, but Alex Jones, bro, you got the footage. Go crazy. You get what I'm saying?
Pineal gland calcification. The pineal gland is a small gland in your brain that produces melatonin. Over time, calcium deposits form on the gland for many people. It's unclear exactly what effect this has on the body, but scientists think that when this happens, it gives people insomnia and migraines, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things doesn't sound too bad, but some people believe the pineal gland is much more important, and it's linked to your third eye. There's also research that suggests that excess fluoride consumption is the main factor that leads to this calcification. And this theory has been put forth by prominent thinkers such as Kanye West.
We're all on medication right now. Did you use toothpaste with fluoride today? It blocks your pineal gland.
No, but seriously, the studies do show a link between fluoride and the pineal gland calcification. The debate is about how bad this is. Some people say it's not that bad. Other people say it's the worst thing ever because the pineal gland is vital to the human experience. Quantum immortality, this is related to the multiverse theory. It says that you basically can never die because every time you die, another universe is created where you live. And your consciousness goes on in that universe. By the way, despite by many degrees, I am kind of an idiot, so don't expect my explanation on this to be that good. You guys are probably familiar with Schrodinger's cat, but in case you haven't heard
oh my god, the cat's the cat is both dead and alive. It just depends on the way you're looking. Oh bro, Schrodinger's cat is oh bro, it's fucking it's a thing. It's a thing. As for the quantum thing you talked about, I guess I see that, but then I guess also too, like, how does that work for versions of you that are still alive, like that are alive at the same time as you? Is that how dreams work? Is that what we're gonna just gloss that over as? I don't know
about it. Here you go.
It's a quantum mechanics thought experiment that an Austrian physicist came up with to help understand quantum states. He imagined putting a cat into a box with poisoned food. There's a 50-50 chance the cat eats it.
According to quantum mechanics, when the cat makes a choice to eat the poisoned food, its consciousness ends. The cat dies. But an entirely separate universe is created where the cat does not eat the meat and its consciousness lives on, making it immortal in the grand scheme of the multiverse. Sabinche Tomatovic is supposedly
I don't get that.
Where the cat does not eat the meat and its consciousness ends. The cat dies. It's a choice to
50 chance the cat eats it.
According to quantum mechanics, when the cat makes a choice to eat the poisoned food, its consciousness ends. The cat dies. But an entirely separate universe is created where the cat does not eat the meat and its consciousness lives on, making it immortal in the grand scheme of the multiverse.
So it's like, it's basically the branching off point, yeah, okay. So let's say hypothetically, I go to my I go to my refrigerator right now, or let me think of something different. Oh, hypothetically, you're going back and forth on if you should be friends with a person anymore, or if you should be dating a person anymore. This is the line now, and depending on if you say yes or no. Let's say you say no. I don't remember which hand that was, but let's say you say no. Now you branched off over here. But then a separate multiverse is made where you made the yes, and now you're going, and that will now go this way. I don't know.
Binche Tomato.
That's what I got from it.
Supposedly an adult film which features a woman getting stopped by a spider. And apparently this entanglement was not consensual. Now, a lot of people claim to have seen parts of this tape, but no one's seen it in its entire consent. Stopped by supposedly an adult film which features a woman getting stopped by a spider. And apparently this entanglement was not consensual. Now, a lot of people claim to have seen parts of this tape, but no one's seen it in its entirety. And I really hope this is fake. Lost cosmonauts. So we all know that the USSR was the first country to successfully send someone to space in 1961. The key word there is successfully, right? Because people think that Yuri Gagarin was not the first person in space, that he was just the first one to make it out alive. There's a theory that says that other cosmonauts were sent into space, but they just died in the vacuum. A Czech communist insider leaked names of at least 4 cosmonauts who supposedly perished in space. Then there was these 2 Italian radio operators who allegedly recorded a number of Russian space mission broadcasts without anybody's knowledge, which they later publicly released. You can actually find one of them on YouTube. Now, Russia has never publicly addressed these recordings, but I mean,
That's not creepy at all. I'm glad I watched this in the middle of the day and not at night like I planned on one day. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna hear me good. I'm a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. This type of shit to give me nightmares, bro. Like, I'm a bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't watch no scary shit past a certain time. I'm good.
it's not that much of a stretch, to be honest. The Soviet space program was no stranger to casualties. There were at least 3 separate incidents where people lost their lives working with rockets, including the Nedelin disaster, which claimed the lives of around 100 people after a Russian rocket exploded on the landing pad. Solipsism is the idea that the only thing you know for sure that exists is your own mind and your own thoughts, and everything outside of that is unknowable, therefore possibly fake. Like, you can't read other people's minds, so who's to say that these people can even think? Who's to say that they're even real? You don't know.
Nah, that's crazy. I mean, I can see how a person could believe that, but I don't know, you gotta be lucky. Like, you gotta be like a sociopath, bro. Like, that's getting into like sociopath territory, to where like you're just like, I'm the only one that can think. I'm the only one with a brain. Like, you get what I'm saying? None of this makes sense. They can't think, cause I can't. Nah. Like, it's basically saying like there's no proof that you have there's no proof that you think in your head the way that I do. So technically to me, that means that you are incapable of it. Nah, that's crazy.
You know is that you can think and feel, and that's it. This is another one of those philosophical ideas that is probably best not to think about too much. My red is not your red.
Maybe I just don't want to think too much into it, but I just feel like I feel like that's just inconsiderate. Like, that's just being a fucking sociopath, bro. Like, you're literally just being an asshole at that point.
All this is saying is that, when I look up at the sky, I see this. But to you, it may look like this. But neither of us have any idea because of our perception. So to me, the sky might be blue. You might see it as what I perceive as red. But to you, it's still blue. Did that make any sense? I don't know. Let's move on. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I probably should have looked it up before I started recording. Oumuamua is the first interstellar object to have been detected in our solar system. NASA scientists haven't been able to figure out what the heck this thing is. Is it a comet? Is it an asteroid? Is it a giant cigar? It's hard to decipher due to its weird shape and behavior. But there's a third option. And I think you know where I'm going with this.
They're aliens.
Aliens, it has to be.
The King in the North. Now, before you say anything, no, this has nothing to do with Game of Thrones. Now, if you guys can recall back to 6th grade history class, civilization is thought to have began in modern-day Iraq around 10,000 years ago. But according to this theory by British author and Joe Rogan orbiter Graham Hancock, there was an advanced civilization that predated Mesopotamia that existed in the North Pole. A lot of ancient cultures have tales about a great city in the north. For the Greeks, it was Hyperborea. For the Romans, it was Thule, Utakaru in Hindu cosmology, and the list goes on. True believers in this civilization say that these stories are more than stories, that this is a kingdom to the north that was destroyed by an unknown catastrophe, Atlantis style, and over time, fact turned to legend. Pretty interesting, if you ask me.
Hear me out. What if that was Atlantis? What if we got where Atlantis is at is wrong, and was Atlantis? It would make sense why people care so much about Atlantis. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just trying to feed into the theory, bro.
Rocco's basilisk is probably the most terrifying thought experiment ever. So let's say in the future there is a powerful evil AI that takes control of the world.
Okay,
like
Ultron. Okay.
This AI could theoretically punish people who did not support or actively help in bringing it into existence. Which means that even knowing about it and not actively participating in its creation could make you a victim of the AI's wrath. So, sorry. Hidden characters.
That's like if years from now ChatGPT was like, bro, you never helped. Get him the fuck out of... No, that's crazy. I hope that never happens. Or I hope I'm dead before it does. Alright, now we're in layer 4. We're getting more and more deep down. Also, Trigger warning. Again. I'm gonna say it every layer we go down, bro, because I don't know what he's gonna say. He said a trigger warning at the beginning. I said a trigger warning at the beginning, but I know you don't listen. So, trigger warning.
Stone. In 2002, a man in Guizhou, China, discovered a rock. But this was no ordinary rock. This was a boulder.
It's not just a rock. It's a boulder.
This boulder had fallen to the ground and split in half. Inside of it were 6 Chinese characters that read, "The Chinese Communist Party will perish."
Social credit deducted.
Now, when I saw this, my first thought was, well, that's probably just some graffiti, right?
Yeah,
Somebody etched it into the rock. Wrong. Researchers at the Guizhou University of Technology studied the stone and found that there is no trace of artificial carving, shaping, or etching. This stone is naturally formed. And not only that, but the stone is over 270 million years old, which honestly is not that impressive because I feel like most stones are like really old. Archimedes' heat ray. So Archimedes is known as the greatest mathematician.
I want you to know that stone came from God. He spawned that bitch in to troll. No cap. Archimedes' heat ray. This motherfucker look devious as hell. Bored ass head.
Of all time. Like, this dude basically invented math. So fuck him.
Yeah.
Now,
no,
aside from being a big brain math head, Archimedes was also an
I fuck with
inventor.
math. I'm
and he
good at
invented a
math.
device known as a heat ray, which apparently used mirrors that directed sunlight in such a way that it would burn anything that it was pointed at, like a laser gun. And this weapon was used on ships attacking his hometown of Syracuse. Allegedly, right? We don't really know if that's true.
Yeah, we
There's
wasn't
a
there
debate
type
if this
shit.
thing actually existed or not. Some people think it was real, others don't. There's no actual evidence of it other than accounts written thousands of years ago by other people. The phantom time hypothesis.
So he just did what kids do with ants. He built a magnifying glass big enough to reflect the sun and powerful enough to get the bulk of the reflection to literally burn boats. Man, fuck it, I believe it. I'm not gonna lie, if that's in here, I wonder if Greek fire is in there, bro. Because Greek fire is crazy, and the fact that we don't know how to make that is insane, bro. Like, I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've all been fooled. All this time, I thought I was living in the year 2022.
Oh, well,
but it turns
time's
out
an
we're
illusion.
actually living in 1725. You
Wait,
see,
what?
the time between 1614 and 911 AD never existed. And all because some royal schmuck wanted to live in the year 1000. That's what German historian Herbert Illig thinks. If you look at a history book, aka Wikipedia, you'll see that the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III ruled from 996 to 1002. But Illig believes that he actually lived in the 700s, but he really wanted to live in the year 1000, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to live in 1000? That's a nice round number. So he decided that he was gonna shift the calendar and just make up 300 years of history. After all, nobody could read back then. Everybody was a bunch of uneducated peasants, so he could easily get away with it. So the years between 1614 and 911 never happened. All the history we learn from this time was invented by Otto. Charlemagne, who we believe to have been the Holy Roman Emperor in the 700s, wasn't actually real. He was everything Otto wishes he was, so he created this idealized version of himself for the history books. I mean, this seems pretty far-fetched, so what is Illig's evidence? Well, he says the years before 1614 were full of historically significant events. Same with the years after 911. But not so much was going on in between that time. No major advancements were made, and not a lot of archaeological discoveries have been found from that time period. Tesla was from Venus.
So
Nikola
he's trying to say, like, since like nothing significant happened in 300 years, there's no way we just got complacent for 300 years. So bro must have just lied. And honestly, I could see that having a little bit of validity to it. I don't know if I can say I believe this, but I have made jokes before saying there's very well an option that most historians just make shit up and just call it a day and like just, you know, knowing we not gonna really go fact check it for real. But like, I don't know if I believe that. But also too, I guess I do kind of believe that, because back then, bro, kings and queens, like the nobility and royalty, bro, they had so much pull that, like, if bro said, I want to be alive in the year you're 1,000, bro. You know, fucking make it 1,000 tomorrow. Somebody would be like, yes, my leash, and just do it anyway. So I honestly, I don't know. I guess, I mean, shit. It don't really fucking matter. I mean, what are we gonna do? Just say it's 1725 again, bro? You know how mad I'd be if I was like doing history class at this point, bro? Like everybody just gotta be like, before the great loss of 300 years, it was really, you get what I'm saying? Nah, bro.
Tesla was one of the smartest and most enigmatic people in history.
And then I was gonna say, I guess what do you do with the old stuff? But I guess you just kind of like call it like folklore or like a what do they call it? Mythology.
With a big brain like that, it's almost like he was from a different planet or something. Well, maybe he was. The FBI had a lot of files on Tesla which recently became declassified. In one of them you can find the following. The space people have visited Tesla engineers many times and have told Tesla he was a Venusian, brought to this planet as a baby in 1856 and left with Mr. and Mrs. Tesla in a remote mountain province that is now in Yugoslavia. Now, I could probably debunk this right now, but I'm not gonna, because it's cooler to think that it's true. Pre-hominid civilizations. This is just a theory that before the rise of humans, there were other possibly advanced non-human civilizations on Earth. Like, there was an evolved race of lizard people, but not the same lizard people that currently control the world.
Different lizard people.
These lizard beings would have lived like millions of years ago, so evidence of their existence by now would be incredibly rare, if not non-existent. CIA Mars astral projection. Okay, so I literally just talked about this in my last video, so I'm not gonna rehash it too much. But this guy, Andrew D. Basiago, claims to have been part of a secret CIA.
I'm sorry.
CIA program when he was a child that teleported him to Mars and sent him back in time. He also claims that Barack Obama was another one of the children who was in this program with them. Crystal skulls. The terrible Indiana Jones film, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, is actually based on a real thing. Since the 1800s, these skulls have been turning up in random places around the world. One of them was found at an antique shop in Paris, another one was bought at an auction, and another one was mailed to the Smithsonian by an unknown sender who claimed it belonged to Mexican dictator Porfirio Diaz. It's claimed that these skulls originate in ancient Mesoamerica and that they have magical properties, including healing powers and making people who touch them see into the future. Scientists who have actually studied the artifacts say that they most likely came from Germany in the 1800s, but you can't trust those stupid science bitches. They don't know anything.
What the fuck do they know?
Artificial petrification. I have no idea what this is talking about. Maybe he's talking about artificial penetration, in which case I do not want to elaborate.
I thought petrification was like being like, you feel me? Like that's what I remember from that that one Harry Potter, Chamber of Secrets, bro. I thought it like Medusa type shit.
Piri-Reis map origin. The Piri-Reis map is a comprehensive map of the world that was made back in 1513 by Turkish Admiral Piri-Reis. It was the most accurate map at the time and used a lot of techniques that wouldn't become popular for another few hundred years. One weird thing about it is that it showed what looks like Antarctica, except there was no ice. And this was like 300 years before Antarctica was actually discovered. So who knows? Maybe Antarctica only recently became covered in ice after the Ice Age, because remember we even talked about the Antarctic pyramid theory? So these could potentially be connected in some way? I don't know.
Could be.
Coast to coast.
But he could have also just been like, oh, I know there's land over there. What do you think's over there? I don't really give a fuck. And like just wrote it down. I don't know, bro.
Ex-military callers. So Art Bell, who was the conspiracy radio guy, hosted a show called Coast to Coast, and he had a segment on the show where he asked people that are current or former employees of Area 51 to call in and share some juicy details on what's really happening over there.
On my Area 51 line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
He got a lot of people blicked down, bro. Let you say the wrong thing, boy. Let you say the wrong thing, Nate. Take the shot. All right. You're done, bro. He got a lot of people blicked, bro. Hey, bro. You're a dick. You're a dick, Gangy. You're a dick. No.
Yes.
What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51. They want the major population centers wiped out.
Hey. If you was gonna call in and do all this, you could have just kept the information to yourself, bro. Could have just kept the information to yourself, gang. No cap. Nobody trying to hear all that.
So that the few that are left will be more easily controllable. I
Thank you.
We are now on a backup system, everybody. A backup system. And that one caller that I had on the air, I guess we were about in the middle of his transmission, his telephone call, which was one of the strangest ones I've ever had. And the entire transmitting system by satellite went down here. And we were notified we were off the air.
Now, some comic book writer named Brian Glass claimed that he was the caller, but the weird thing about this thing is that the signal just dropped. Like, the whole signal dropped in the middle of the call with no explanation. And Brian Glass even said himself that he had no idea what that was all about. The Baghdad Battery. Baghdad, Iraq, 1938. A German archaeologist comes across a set of 3 artifacts dating back about 2,000 years.
I'm sorry. He said he was a comic book writer. I actually want to know what comic books he's worked on. Look, man, I'm a nerd at heart, bro. I gotta. Yeah. Marvel Comics image. Oh, he worked on Thor. Okay, that's cool. That's all I really wanted to know. That's all I really cared about.
A clay pot, an iron rod, and some copper wire. When these 3 items were combined and acid was added inside the pot, it was shown to produce a small amount of electricity, which is where it gets its name, the Baghdad Battery. There's a ton of speculation on what this thing could have been used for. Like, these were primitive people. They didn't even have Fortnite. So what could they have needed electricity for? Well, this should come as no surprise, but one of the leading theories is...
It's aliens, it has to be.
Dendrolite.
Nigga, what? Bro, they probably just accidentally made electricity. Like, y'all acting like electricity didn't drop until we got fucking shit. No, bro. Like, they probably, like... Because, I mean, people knew about electricity before we had TVs and cameras and this and that, bro. They probably just accidentally made electricity. They probably saw the spark the same way everybody else did. They were like, what the fuck? What'd that do? Man, no. Think you might be useful later. That's all they did, bro. Like, y'all acting like... Well, bro, come on now, bro. Like, you can accidentally discover something. Someone might accidentally discover a new element tomorrow, bro. Like, come on now.
This is the Dendera Temple in Egypt, one of the most well-preserved ancient Egyptian structures. On one of the walls, you can find this motif. Now, this phallic-looking object is possibly an ancient light bulb, according to some. It resembles a Crookes tube, which was like an early version of the light bulb. So it's possible that ancient civilizations were a lot more advanced than we think. Is it possible that the Dendera light was hooked up to the Baghdad Battery? Or is this just evidence that Egyptians invented corn dogs thousands of years ago? The nuclear grid theory, otherwise known as free energy suppression, is a similar concept to how Big Pharma may have a cure for cancer, but they make more money off treating it. According to this theory, there exists a way to produce clean energy at an extremely low cost, but the big oil companies are suppressing it so that it doesn't see the light of day to protect their bottom line. Conspiracies are a psyop. This is like self-explanatory, right? People think that these crazy conspiracy theories are being put out by governments to distract people from real stuff. Time cube. The time cube theory comes to us from a website created in 1997 by self-proclaimed wisest man on earth, Gene Ray. Gene theorized that there are actually 4 separate days in one rotation of the Earth around the sun.
So, Gene, you say that I'm stupid because I believe that when the Earth rotates once, there is only one 24-hour day, but your time cube principle disputes this, no?
Right. It has 4 corners. When it shines at midday, it simultaneously creates a midnight. Where the 2 majors join, it creates the 2 minors of sun up and sundown. And each corner quadrant of Earth rotates to its own separate 24-hour days.
Well, the Earth is a sphere, though. It's not a cube.
All I'm gonna say is, even if this is true, who gives a fuck? Who cares? I'm just saying, what if you found out today that one day of your human life was 4 days, bro? You'd just be like, oh, I guess it just takes me 4 days to do stuff. Like, it's not gonna change, bro. It's not gonna change because it's not like we're gonna be sitting there and we're gonna be like, well, I guess I gotta sleep now because day 1 is over. No, bro, it's just gonna be like, all right, I guess like 4 days, bro. All right, now we just gotta retweak some shit out. Nah, bro, who gives a fuck? Like, even if you figured it out, people would just be like, all right, and then they would keep pushing. Like, who cares?
It's composed of 4 quadrant corners. Each corner, because it rotates in 4 different directions simultaneously. Toward midday, midnight, sun up and sundown. It rotates those directions simultaneously. Each one of them has its own separate day.
This is a explanation.
He keeps saying simultaneously, and that just made me not fuck with you.
From Gene himself. If Earth stood still, it would have midday, midnight, sunup, and sundown as 4 corners. Each rotation of the Earth has 4 middays, 4 midnights, 4 sunups, and 4 sundowns. The 16 space-times demonstrates cube proof of 4 full days simultaneously on Earth with 1 full rotation. Now, if you're confused about what this all means, you're not alone, because it makes no fucking sense. Like, the more you read through these incoherent ramblings, the less sense this theory makes. There's all sorts of diagrams and charts, but you know what? Maybe I'm just too brainwashed and stupid to get it, because in Gene's own words, the academic brainwashed mind is corrupt and can't comprehend cubic magnificence. Dang, man.
But then again, Gene, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't know, bro. Like, maybe I really just don't care. But like, if someone told me, hey, bro, you know, one day is actually 4 days, I'd be like, well, dang, I guess I've been up for 8 days straight. Like, I don't, like, it's not gonna, like, nah, bro, it's not gonna.
I guess those degrees from DeVry University were completely pointless. Gene was so confident in his theory that he offered $10,000 to any academic that could disprove his theory.
Gene, how do you know this? What's your proof, scientifically speaking?
Well, it's in the cube. You can see it. You can't deny that. I offer any academic institution, any professor, $10,000 to disprove it. They can't disprove it, so they ignore it and run and hide.
You're offering $10,000 to anyone who can dispute the time cube principle?
Institution or professor.
Nobody stepped forward, which means it's true. So shout out to Gene. Phoenicians discovered America. So if you're American, you probably thought that this fella, Chris Columbus, discovered the Americas. Well, you're wrong. The Chad Viking explorer Leif Erikson discovered it 500 years before Columbus.
Happy Leif Erikson Day.
But it's possible that somebody discovered it way before them, namely the Phoenicians. So the theory begins like this. Dighton Rock, a giant boulder discovered in 1680 that was covered in an unknown writing. Some people believe that this writing is Phoenician in origin, and honestly, it kind of makes sense. The Phoenicians were like the kings of the sea for hundreds of years, so it's not super unrealistic that they would have gone west till they found America. I mean, it probably didn't happen, but it's not impossible, is all I'm saying. The Toluca Valley Head is this sculpture that was found in an ancient burial site in Mexico. Now, at first glance, it looks like a sculpture from ancient Rome, so people say that the Romans came to America hundreds of years ago and left it behind. Others think that the statue was put there as a prank by archaeologists. And then, of course, there's the alien theory, because why not? Everything's fucking aliens.
Yeah, everything's aliens,
The Antikythera
right.
mechanism was an ancient Greek device that was found on a shipwreck.
Nigga, that's an X-Men symbol. That's Wolverine's belt buckle, bro. What are we talking about?
In the Mediterranean Sea. Scientists believe it was created back in 200 BC, and it was composed of dozens of gears and functioned sort of like a clock. And it was way ahead of its time. But what the heck is it? Scientists think it was used to predict the movement of planets and stars. But this thing leaves a lot of questions, like why was it the only known device of its kind, and why was it in a shipwreck at the bottom of the sea? Like, this was the most advanced thing in the ancient world, so maybe the ship carrying it was sunk on purpose. Maybe the device holds some kind of knowledge that we're not meant to know. If you look at the theories about this thing's origins, it's pretty much the usual suspects. It was left by a time traveler, it's alien tech, or the lizard people created it. Caveman Holocaust, this is more of a theory than a conspiracy theory. It just says that us, Homo erectus, killed off all the Neanderthals, and that's why there's no more Neanderthals. Mars is a warning. According to this theory...
Or maybe they was just stupid. Maybe they was just dumb enough. Get what I'm saying?
Humans actually originated on Mars. At one point, maybe millions of years ago, Mars was an Earth-like planet. It had oceans, grass, and trees, possibly even Fortnite. But we humans fucked everything up after we drained it of its resources.
Hell no, they ain't have Fortnite, bro. Fortnite 1 of 1. Fortnite 1 of 1, bro. Nah, hell no, bro. No Martian thinking of no Fortnite, bro.
And nuked the whole planet. And Mars's red color is actually the result of the nuclear winter. Us modern humans are actually descendants of the humans who were able to escape Mars before things went nuclear. Now, this theory was put forth by a deleted TikTok made by this guy.
This is a jar of dirt.
Yes.
Is the jar of dirt going to help?
If you don't want it, give it back.
So, yeah, take it with a gram of salt. Google Earth black zones. So, this iceberg chart was made like 2 years ago, and back then there were several areas on Google Marks that were straight up blocked out, so you couldn't see them. Like Babylon, Iraq was one of them. The HARP facility was another one. But I checked, and most of these so-called black zones, they're no longer blacked out, so that was kind of dumb. Serpent seed is a Gnostic belief.
Maybe they just couldn't get down there. I don't know. You know, the Google van it dried down and it, you feel me? That's about it.
That Eve not only accepted an apple from the serpent in the Garden of Eden,
but she
also accepted something else, if you know what I'm saying. The serpent seduced Eve, and they had an entanglement and produced a son who we now know as Cain. And Eve would later go...
Hey, all I gotta say is, Eve, if this is true, and I mean this, bro. I mean this, Eve. First off, you and Adam, like, I know God talks about, you know, heaven needs to be peaceful, love on earth, this, that, and the third. But when I get up there, I need the fade. I need it. And I'm pretty sure most women probably want it with you too, bro. You get what I'm saying? So, like, Eve, first off, I already need the fade. But if you did this, not only do I need the fade, you're also a dirty, nasty bitch. What? Not only did you let him put fruit in your mouth, and then you let him hit it from the back. Oh yeah, Eve. Oh yeah, Eve. Oh yeah, Eve. Nah. And not only two, bro. Nah, bro. Because now I gotta get on Adam's side for a minute. First off, you manipulated him into eating the apple, but then you cheated on him. You didn't tell him how you was taking back shots from the snake, right? Like he didn't give up a whole rib to bring you in this bitch. He sacrificed his body and well-being to create you. And then you come in here and you just start disrespecting. You come in here and you just start disrespecting and you just start violating peace. You dirty bitch. You're dirty. You're dirty.
On to give birth to Abel with Adam. This idea appears in the Gnostic text, the Gospel of Philip, which says, "First adultery came into being, afterward murder. And he," meaning Cain, "was begotten in adultery, for he was the child of the serpent. So he became a murderer, just like his father, and he killed his brother." So Cain was basically born evil because his father was a snake, who is widely interpreted to be Satan, and that's why he killed his brother Abel. And by extension, all of Cain's descendants are also evil. Now, this idea has unsurprisingly been used to justify racism. People will claim that one group of people that they don't like are the descendants of Cain and therefore evil, and hating them is okay because they're the spawn of Satan.
That's why y'all don't fuck with black people, bro. Y'all think we the spawn of Satan. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself and what you be calling us, bro. And then think to yourself about who the real spawn of Satan is. But also, too, if you think that, bro, you're stupid, bro. You're stupid, bro. Come on now.
The Sea People were a group of raiders who attacked the major Bronze Age civilizations like the Egyptians and the Hittites around 1200 BC. Now, these guys were like the original Sigma males. They would show up out of nowhere, attack a city, take all their shit, and leave with no explanation. They were kind of like Vikings in that way. And historians still have no clue who these people were, where they came from, how they were so successful in taking on some of the biggest empires of the time.
No words, just a fade.
They've been credited as a huge factor in the collapse of the Hittite Empire, which was one of the biggest in the world at the time. It's believed that these people were what was left of Atlantis after it got swallowed up by the ocean. Hypersigils. A sigil is basically a symbol that has some kind of magical power, and they're used in occult practices. Here's an example of the most cursed sigil known to man. Looking at this for too long will make you want to commit unspeakable crimes.
What is
Eye for
this beef
sigil
with
is
Franklin,
a more
bro?
powerful version of a sigil, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a symbol. It can be like a song or, I don't know, man. This is some occult weirdo shit. I don't mess with this warlock nonsense. Trolls and goblins are Neanderthals. So the thing about myths and legends is that they're usually based on something, right? So people think that trolls, goblins, dwarves, and all these short, ugly...
I'm not gonna lie, when he flashed that first troll on the screen, it low-key scared me. It low-key got me. No cap. No cap. Scared the shit out of me.
Creatures are based on Neanderthals, and that legends of them just
It was just so
carried over
sudden,
into
bro.
the
It
modern
was just
day.
so sudden.
Based off their skeletons, Neanderthals were shorter and stockier than modern humans, so I guess it's not too crazy of an idea. Jesus and Buddha are the same. Now, in the Bible, there's a period known as the lost years of Jesus, where the Bible didn't talk about what Jesus was doing between the ages of 13 to 30. So people like to...
He's just vibing. He's just vibing. Holding his craft, you feel me? Really getting to know himself. You get what I'm saying?
Speculate about...
Think about it, bro. I'm gonna get real with y'all. You so worried about, you know, what everybody else thinks about you. What everybody else thinks about your story, where you're going and what you're doing. You want to just put your best foot forward. You want to show out. You want to stun on them a little bit. But look, Jesus worked in the shadows. They didn't know what he was doing from 13 to 30, right? And he worked on himself. He honed his craft. And you know the rest. Don't worry about what they think about you, bro. Don't worry about what the world needs. Don't worry about putting on your best show of the world, bro. 13 to 30, do you. You get what I'm saying? Do what you need to do. Get to know yourself. Get to know your body. Get to know what you like. You get what I'm saying? What you want to do. And then you go do that. Go attack that. Come on, bro. Sometimes it's better to work in the shadows than to be on a stage with a spotlight on. Come on now. Come on now.
About what Jesus was doing during this time. Some people believe he studied with the Essenes, a Jewish sect who famously wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls. Other people think he went to England, and others think he traveled to Tibet where he studied Buddhism and brought these ideas back to Jerusalem. And it goes even further than that. In Buddhism, it's believed that life is a constant cycle of suffering and rebirth. And the only way to break this cycle is by reaching a state of enlightenment, or nirvana. Siddhartha Gautama, aka the Buddha, was the first person to break this cycle, and some Buddhists believe that Jesus reached nirvana when he was crucified, thus becoming a Buddha himself. The fourth dimension is a very hard concept to grasp, but I'm gonna do my best.
Hey, bro, Mr. DeVry University, bro, come on. Tell me something.
So, we're all familiar with 2D shapes, right? Square, that's 2D. Go up, down, left, right. Then we got a 3-dimensional shape like a cube. You go up, down, left, right, forward, backward. Okay, still with me? Okay. Next up, we got a tesseract. This is a 4-dimensional shape, and yeah, Yeah, I don't really get it either. Just like a square is part of a cube is also part of this tesseract shape, meaning that us three-dimensional beings overlap with four-dimensional beings, but we can only exist in our own dimension and they can only exist in theirs. But some people believe that these four-dimensional beings have found a way to come into our dimension. Does that make any sense? I hope it did. But how do these beings enter our reality? Through DMT, baby.
It's pretty intense stuff, man. If you do it, you will talk to intelligent beings from other dimensions, for real.
I'm serious. A lot of people who have done DMT claim to have seen the fourth-dimensional beings, but obviously take that with a hefty pinch of salt.
Don't people off DMT also cut their ears off, bro? I'm good. I'm good staying in my own dimension. No cap.
Hell Online is a game, or should I...
Layer 7, bro. Trigger warning. Please, bro. I know y'all don't listen, bro. This is my third time saying it. This is my third and final time saying it. I don't want to see you in the comments. Oh my God, Brandon did not tell me. Oh my God, I can't believe I learned. You wasn't listening. So, last time.
I say was a game that supposedly could be found on the dark web. It was meant to function like Second Life or VR chat, except with the typical dark web clientele. The only evidence we have of this game is a 2-minute gameplay clip posted to YouTube.
I don't like how this sounds in my ear.
The aquatic ape theory. Now, you guys are familiar with evolution, right? It's this dumb theory that we evolved from monkeys or something. Well, the aquatic ape...
was there nothing else other than that?
Web Line is a game, or should I say was a game, that supposedly could be found on the dark web. It was meant to function like Second Life or VR chat, except with the typical dark web clientele. The only evidence we have of this game is a 2-minute...
Oh, so yeah,
you're familiar with evolution, right? It's this dumb theory that we evolved from monkeys or something. Well, the aquatic ape theory takes this a step further and says that humans actually evolved to be in water. At some point in our evolutionary history, our ancestors decided it would be easier to go in the water and eat shellfish than compete for resources with the other monkeys. And this explains certain features that are unique to humans. Like, we evolved to stand on 2 legs, so it would be easier to wade in the water. We don't have any hair on our bodies to make it easier to swim. And I'm gonna debunk this theory right here and now, because I have more hair on me than most orangutans. Dogs side bridge. Since the 50s, hundreds of dogs have jumped off the Overton Bridge in Scotland to their deaths. Nobody really knows why. It could be paranormal, it could be a cult. The only thing that's for sure is that something is making these perfectly normal, perfectly happy dogs whack themselves for no apparent reason. Ancient nuclear war. You know, people are always saying history repeats. Well, I really hope that's not true, because if it is, then we're fucked. Robert Oppenheimer was one of the main scientists who helped create the nuclear bomb. When he witnessed the Trinity test, which was the first ever nuclear detonation, he said to himself, "I am now become death, destroyer of worlds." This is a line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. The book speaks of a great war between 2 princes, and it describes a weapon that sounds an awful lot like an atomic bomb. Alright, so these are direct quotes from the Bhagavad Gita. A single projectile, charged with all the power of the universe, as bright as the 1,000 suns. Witnesses of nuclear explosions have described them as being brighter than the sun. A perpendicular explosion, with its billowing smoke clouds, and the cloud of smoke rising after its first explosion, formed into expanding round circles, like the opening of giant parasols. A parasol is basically an umbrella, and what's being described here sounds an awful lot like a mushroom cloud to me. It was an unknown weapon, an iron thunderbolt, a giant messenger of death, which reduced to ashes an entire race of the Vrishnis and the Andakas. The corpses were so burned as to be unrecognizable. That's pretty crazy, man. I've also seen claims that radioactive skeletons were found in ancient archaeological sites in India, but take that with 2 scoops of salt, because I couldn't find anything credible on it. But going back to Oppenheimer, he was asked by a reporter about the Trinity test. They said, "Was it the first ever detonation of a nuclear device?" And he replied back, "Yes, in modern times." So, is it possible that we nuked ourselves back into the stone?
Also, which is crazy, like, to me, is that literally him building and exploding that bomb, it hasn't even been 100 years, bro. Let that sink in, bro. That bomb did not go off 100 years ago. There are people that that could have been born the day that bomb went off that are still alive to this day. That's insane to me. I don't know. I don't know if that's crazy at all, but it's crazy to me.
Age, and we didn't learn our lesson the first time over? Is the Bhagavad Gita a warning to future generations? I don't know, but again, let's not risk it. Neanderthal supremacy. Nowadays, we typically associate Neanderthals with being dumb cavemen that were genetically inferior to their human counterparts. Neanderthal is even a word sometimes used to call somebody dumb. But science has shown that Neanderthals actually had bigger brains than us, and they knew how to use fire and made some pretty sick cave paintings. This idea is going to come up again, so keep it tucked away in the back of your brain. Your inferior Homo sapien brain. Yaldabaoth. So we've established that in Gnosticism there's a higher, unknowable God, and there's a lesser God who created our world, known as the Demiurge. The name of the lesser god is Yaldabaoth, according to Gnostics. Human-chimpanzee hybrids. Oliver the chimp was a chimpanzee discovered in the Congo in the 50s. But Oliver was no ordinary chimp. He was bald, walked on two legs, and had a flatter face than his chimpanzee counterparts. It's still believed by many to this day that Oliver was what's known as a humanzee, or a human-chimp hybrid, and I don't even want to think about how this mother sucker was conceived. But
okay, if he is, then why the fuck we got a goddamn leash on him then, bro? Is he not human enough not to have a leash on him? Fuck.
Apparently, there's been multiple experiments over the years attempting to create a humanzee. In the 20s, Soviet scientist Ilya Ivanov attempted to create humanzees on multiple occasions by inserting human sperm into female chimps. It didn't work. So he tried the reverse. He tried injecting chimp sperm into human ladies. But this was too much for even the Soviets, so they exiled him to Kazakhstan. Similar experiments were carried out by the Chinese in the 60s. But the craziest case comes from Dr. Gordon G. Gallup, a psychologist at the University of Albany. He said that a co-worker who worked at a lab in Florida was part of a humanzee experiment. The scientists at this lab were actually able to create a successful human-chimp chimera back in the 1920s. Quote, they inseminated a female chimpanzee with human sperm from an undisclosed donor and claimed not only that pregnancy occurred, but that pregnancy went to full term and resulted in a live birth, unquote. He went on to say, in a matter of days or weeks, they began to consider the moral and ethical considerations, and the infant was euthanized. A bit late for the moral and ethical considerations.
I was about to say, bro,
what are you
like,
gonna do? Guys, I hate to break it to you again, but your entire life has been a lie. You've been led to believe that these rock formations are mountains, when in reality, they're actually trees. You see, these things that we call trees today are actually just bushes or saplings of the real trees that no longer exist. You see, real trees were 2 miles wide and 40 miles tall. Nothing like these pussy-ass trees we see today. But unfortunately, due to some unknown cataclysm, all our once tall and proud trees have been destroyed. And the only remnants of them are these mountains. You see, flat-top mountains are actually the stumps of the real trees. Boltzmann brain. So think about how many things needed to fall in exactly the right place for an individual to be brought into this world. The Boltzmann brain thought experiment says that the odds that you exist are so astronomically impossibly small that it's actually more likely that you're just a brain floating in a void imagining all of your reality. Immortality.
No. That one got me though. That one got me. That one actually got me. What the fuck? No. I'm not saying I believe it, but you know how you get like a little shocked feeling? I felt that in my chest. No, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Why this shit not perfect though, bro? Why am I imagining some fuckery? Why am I imagining me going through some bullshit, bro? Why can I imagine being rich?
This is related to quantum immortality. As I said, every time you die, you create an alternate timeline where you live, but you can't remember your previous life from the previous timeline. The internet was discovered. All this is saying is that the internet has always existed in some form, and it was discovered, not invented. Singularity all...
How the fuck does that work? I wish you would have went more in depth on that one. How the fuck does that work? That don't even make any sense. I don't know.
Already happened. The singularity refers to a moment in time where technology will become uncontrollable. An AI so advanced that it surpasses human intelligence, thus making us redundant. At which point, humans will merge with machines and will upload our consciousnesses to a database, allowing us to basically become immortal, but virtually. Now, this sounds like some shit out of a Black Mirror episode, but people think that it's already happened. Like, our lives right now are just digital and uploaded to the Matrix by our real selves. Iceberg psyops. So these iceberg charts are intentionally putting out disinformation to confuse people. Wait, but that would mean I'm a psyop. Do I even exist? Is this a simulation?
Oh, bro, did you not listen to the first theory you just said, bro? About the brain? You might not exist.
Sentient planets.
This nigga just rickrolled me, bro. This nigga just rickrolled me, bro. Come on, man. Come on.
You may remember from the criminally bad film Avatar, Not the Last Airbender, that the planet Pandora turned out to be a living being or something. I don't know. The movie was so dog shit I can't even remember the plot.
You know, I was talking to a girl whose favorite movie was Avatar. I explained to her the whole plot of the movie, and then she was like, "Yeah, so you seen it?" And I said, "I've never seen that shit before." We didn't work out, but she was cool. Like, she was cute.
People think the Earth and other planets might actually be living beings instead of just rocks. James Hutton, known today as the father of geology, once said, "Earth is a superorganism, and its proper study should be physiology." Hey, that works out for me, because not only do I have a degree in geology, but I have a degree in physiology too. I'm like the most educated man in the world. In the 1970s, James Lovelock put forward the Gaia hypothesis, which he based on research by Hutton, and it stated that not only do animals and plants evolve based on the environment they live in, but the Earth too evolves to better suit these organisms. Oh, and apparently the Earth has a heartbeat. Terry Davis, MKUltra. Terry Davis was a programmer who set out to build his own operating system, which he called Temple OS. He even created a new programming language based on C called Holy C. Now, this was not just a regular schmegular operating system. It was also meant to be the third temple in the Bible. Terry claimed that God spoke to him and told him to rebuild his temple. He also suffered from pretty severe schizophrenia, which got worse and worse until at one point he ended up living on the streets. Until about 2018, where he tragically passed away after getting hit by a train. Man, this is like one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. But some fellas on 4chan believe that Terry's mental decline wasn't the result of mental illness, but rather brainwashing by the CIA. Terry, according to them, was a part of MKUltra, and Temple OS was actually a tool that the CIA wanted to use as a backdoor to gain control of people's computers. And when Terry thought God was speaking to him, it was actually the CIA feeding him information. Maui statues are a warning. Easter Island was home to one of the most secluded and closed-off civilizations of all time. The Rapa Nui people who lived there were basically in their own miniature ecosystem. Luckily for them, the island was rich with natural resources and they were able to thrive for hundreds of years. But when the island was later rediscovered by Captain Cook, the place was desolate. The entire place used to be covered in trees and rich soil, perfect for farming, but those days were long gone. The people of the island basically exploited the shit out of their natural resources and became overpopulated, which eventually led to their downfall. So it's believed that the famous Easter Island heads are actually a warning to the rest of the world to not repeat the same mistakes. After all, this could be just a small-scale version of what could potentially happen to all of us. Michigan Blue Hell. So Blue Hell is when you clip through the floor in a video game and then you're out.
I gotta lock in, bro. They talking about my shit. Wait.
Michigan Blue Hell. So Blue Hell is when you clip through the floor in a video game and then you're outside. The map and everything around you is blue or gray. Some people believe that there exists somewhere underground in the United States a portal that when you walk through it, you'll basically clip out of reality. So it's like an entrance to another universe or dimension or a plane of reality. And people believe that it's under Michigan because Michigan is known to have a large series of underground tunnels. Bacterial civilization.
So you telling me if I go to somewhere in Michigan right now, I get zero clip out of reality? Nah, that's crazy.
A group of divers off the coast of a Greek island discovered what looked like the ruins of a Greek city underwater. They discovered ancient stoneworks like cobblestone floors and what seemed to be the bases of those Greek pillars. Except these things were not created by Greeks. They were created by bacteria. And I know what you're thinking. What's the difference? Well, these microscopic organisms were able to somehow create these structures, and I refuse to elaborate on how they did it. But some people think that bacteria are much smarter than we previously thought, and that they're showing signs of evolution. The real purpose of the lottery is to catch time travelers. That's it. Boltzmann brain. So think about how many...
Yeah, what? I look, you believe that. If that is true, crazy work. Like that's a crazy work, but it's smart as hell.
Things needed to fall in exactly the right place for an individual to be brought into this world. The Boltzmann brain thought experiment says that the odds that you exist are so astronomically impossibly small that it's actually more likely that you're just a brain.
Bro, I get it, bro. Stop fucking making me feel this way, bro.
Floating in a void, imagining all of your reality. Solar plexus clown glider. Okay, this one's more of a...
Why did he play that clip twice? He played that just to fuck with me, bro. Nah.
Creepypasta than a conspiracy theory, but I'll talk about it anyways. Apparently, in Hinduism, your solar plexus holds a chakra which controls your emotions, and it can cause you to have negative or positive thoughts and emotions. There's these paranormal beings that manipulate your chakra and feed off of that negative energy. And the phrase solar plexus clown glider, when spoken, can make people feel sad and make them feel negative emotions. And also there's these photos that only did not go extinct 40,000 years ago, as we were led to believe. They survived into the modern day. And not only did they survive, but they thrived. And they're currently pulling the strings of society. Like, instead of lizard people or Jews or the Illuminati, it's Neanderthals that control us. Sentient water is a theory put forth by Masaru Emoto in his book, The Hidden Messages in Water. In this book, he described experiments that he conducted where he had two samples of water. One of them was exposed to positive thoughts and speech, while the other one got called a simp and was screamed at. The water sample that was handled with love and compassion has visually pleasing ice crystals, while the one that was called racial slurs had ugly and distorted ice crystals. The pyramids were built as a reminder. This is saying that Egyptians didn't actually build the pyramids, that they were actually built by a previous, more advanced civilization who was wiped out, and they built the pyramids as a reminder of their greatness. Source code for the brain. Alright, this is going to be a little complicated to explain, especially since I'm no expert on the human brain. Oh wait, yes I am. So on a very basic level, your brain is controlled by a neural network made up of neurons. And these neurons are like nodes that receive an input and then communicate with each other and spit out an output. For example, let's say somehow Franklin the Turtle pops up on the television. My brain takes Franklin as the input and outputs visceral hatred and anger, right?
What is his beef with Franklin, bro?
So computer scientists for a while now have been able to replicate how our brains work in artificial neural networks. This, combined with advances in medical science, like being able to 3D print organs, makes it seem like it's only a matter of time before they create an artificial human with thoughts of their own. And if that's not the most terrifying thing you've ever heard, then I don't know what is. Father Ernetti's chronovisor, again, last video, I talked about this last video. Pellegrino Ernetti was an Italian physicist and priest. It was claimed by Father Francois Brunet, a fellow priest who was close to Ernetti, that in the 1950s, Ernetti, along with a team of scientists, were able to create a device that could see into the past. The Vatican would later destroy this device out of fear that it could be used to expose state secrets. Internet is dead. You guys remember YouTube back in the day, back in 2016?
Oh, dead internet theory. Everything we see is just like AI. Yeah,
Frank, H3H3, iDubbbz, Shoe Nice.
You know, everybody talks so highly about iDubbbz. I do not fuck with bro. Like, he was dropping a hard art every fucking week, bro. I don't know how I could, like, y'all can fuck with bro for real.
Now, YouTube and the internet in general is just a watered down version of what it used to be. Well, there might be an explanation for this sudden shift from the golden age into what I like to call the caca age of the internet. According to some people on the internet is dead, and that's not a euphemism. Like, the internet that we once knew does not exist anymore. In a concerted effort between big tech companies and the government, algorithms and bots were deployed to change the landscape of the internet as we know it. So most of the top posts you see on Reddit, most videos on YouTube, most articles, like pretty much everything on the internet is bots. It's not even real people. Yeah, like Mr. Beast, he's not real. He's an AI. Joe Rogan, the real Joe Rogan, died of a DMT overdose in 2009. Since then, it's been all AI. Think about it, bro. How is this man real? How is this a real human being? It's not. And the main objective of all this is to push propaganda and coerce actual users into purchasing products. All religions are the same. This is actually a pretty interesting theory that says no matter what religion you ascribe to, you're worshiping the same God. We already talked about...
I think that is... I 100% believe this. I 100% believe this. No cap. I really think this is true.
Connection between Jesus and Buddha, but some people believe that the reason different religions exist is to be compatible with the cultures and traditions of different areas.
Yeah, I feel like if you put all of them together, bro, there's way more similarities between religions than there are differences. I 100% believe that.
And at the end of the day, these are all different paths that lead to God. Well, except for Scientology. God's ego death. So when we think of an ego, we think of people who are way too into themselves, like Andrew.
And yes, bro, I minimized it because I'm a bitch, bro. First off, look at me, bro. First off, look at me. I hate clowns, okay? Second off, you put that freaky ass fucking picture in here, bro. No, bro, I'm good. Call me whatever you want in the comments, bro. I minimize it for me. I'm the one reacting to it, not you, bro. No matter how it looks bigger to you than it does to me, bro. So I don't even want to hear it.
Tate or Kanye or my ex-wife or what have you. But an ego is just your sense of self. When somebody undergoes an ego death, it's like they lose their self-identity and become a different person in the process. Well, there's a theory that God himself, the supreme creator, had an ego death. A lot of people have noted the difference in God's personality from the Old and New Testament. So something happened that made God shift his tone. One explanation is that when Jesus was born, God himself was being born as a human mortal, and that contributed to his shift. There's also a Gnostic explanation that says the demiurge, who, if you remember, is the lesser god that created Earth, underwent an ego death when the real God revealed himself through Jesus, and it made the demiurge feel less cool. God's last wish is us. This theory says that God sacrificed himself and used all of his power to create humans. The despair code. I've seen a few different interpretations of this, but essentially what the despair code is something that will make a person feel, well, despair. This code will cause the person it's used on to feel depressed, nihilistic, and just basically lose all hope. Now, what it actually is up for debate. Some people think it's a literal code, like a set of numbers. Other people believe it's a set of ideas. Like, if you read enough about certain things, it will cause you to enter a state of despair. Take it easy on the Nietzsche. And the other theory is that it's a weapon, like an invisible gas that the military uses to make the enemy combatants depressed. The other interpretation is that the entire universe runs on a code, and if the code is found by someone, it would drive them to insanity or deep depression, because they would find out that everything is pre-programmed and planned and life is pretty much meaningless.
That's crazy.
The last entry, the final understanding, is when you finally understand that you just wasted over an hour listening to some schmuck from Staten Island ramble about conspiracy theories.
That's a W.
Thank you guys so much. We finally made it to the end. It's finally done. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. And
you know what? Shout out Dontavius, W video. I guess the final understanding is also realizing that you watch this video with me yapping in the background. But unfortunately for the people on YouTube, our time has come to an end. Or fortunately, because you were like, why the hell am I here this long? If you want to see the reactions live and in real time, twitch.tv/Brando or whatever. And I'll see you guys later.